2 hours ago, President Donald Trump issued a threat that sent oil prices to their highest level since the Iran war began. If Tehran attacks Qatar's gas facilities again, Trump wrote, the United States will massively blow up the entirety of the South Pars gas field at an amount of strength and power that Iran has never seen or witnessed before. Not a limited strike, not a targeted operation. The complete destruction of the world's largest natural gas field. A facility that holds enough gas to supply the entire planet for 13 years. And Trump just threatened to turn it into a crater. Before we break down exactly what happened, why this threat is connected to an Israeli attack Trump claims he knew nothing about, and what the destruction of South Pars would mean for the global economy, if you appreciate this kind of analysis, hit that subscribe button and like this video so you never miss a story like this. Here is what actually happened. On Wednesday, Israel struck Iran's South Pars gas field. South Pars is not just another energy facility. It is part of a massive underwater gas reservoir in the Persian Gulf split between Iran and Qatar. The Iranian side, called South Pars, covers 3,700 square kilometers. The Qatari side, called North Dome, covers the rest. Together they form the largest natural gas field on Earth. The field contains an estimated 51 trillion cubic meters of natural gas and 50 billion barrels of condensate. To put that in perspective, that is enough gas to meet global demand for more than a decade. Israel's strike hit the Iranian side of the field. Within hours, Iran retaliated by launching ballistic missiles at Qatar's Ras Laffan industrial city, one of the world's largest liquefied natural gas export terminals. The missiles caused what Qatar's state energy company called extensive damage. 2 of Qatar's 14 LNG trains were knocked offline. One of its 2 gas-to-liquids facilities was destroyed. QatarEnergy's CEO said the damage would sideline 12.8 million tons per year of LNG production for 3 to 5 years. That is 17% of Qatar's total LNG capacity gone. The company has already declared force majeure on long-term contracts with Italy, Belgium, South Korea, and China. Europe and Asia just lost a critical source of natural gas for the next half-decade. Then Trump posted his statement on Truth Social. He said Israel acted out of anger and violently lashed out at South Pars. He said the United States knew nothing about the attack. He said Qatar was not involved and had no idea it was going to happen. He condemned Iran's retaliation as unjustifiable and unfair. Then he issued his threat. No more attacks will be made by Israel on South Pars, Trump wrote, unless Iran unwisely decides to attack Qatar again. If that happens, the United States, with or without the help or consent of Israel, will massively blow up the entirety of the South Pars gas field. Trump said he does not want to authorize this level of violence and destruction because of the long-term implications for Iran's future. But if Qatar's LNG is attacked again, he will not hesitate. Now here is the problem with Trump's story. Multiple sources say the United States absolutely knew about Israel's plan to strike South Pars. Axios reported that an unnamed U.S. defense official and 2 senior Israeli officials confirmed Washington and Tel Aviv coordinated on the attack. The Associated Press cited another unnamed source who said the U.S. was informed about Israel's plans. The source did not say whether the U.S. approved, but they were told in advance. So when Trump says the United States knew nothing about this particular attack, he is either lying or his own defense officials are conducting military operations without telling him. Neither option is reassuring. The global reaction was immediate and severe. Oil prices spiked. Brent crude, the international benchmark, surged past $115 per barrel. Some reports put it as high as $117. The U.S. national average for gasoline hit $3.88 per gallon, up from below $3 a month ago. Prices are rising 5 cents per day. Diesel is approaching $5 per gallon. Strait of Hormuz remains effectively closed, choking off 20% of global oil supply. And now a second major energy choke point. South Pars in the shared gas field with Qatar has become a battleground. Qatar expelled Iranian military and security attaches from its embassy in response to the missile strikes. The United Arab Emirates condemned Iran's attack on Ras Laffan as a terrorist attack and a direct threat to global energy security. 12 Muslim and Arab nations held an emergency meeting in Riyadh. Saudi Foreign Minister Prince Faisal bin Farhan said the kingdom reserves the right to take military actions if deemed necessary. What little trust there was before has completely been shattered, he said. The attacks on my country and on my neighboring countries that are not involved in this conflict, that is all I am interested in. Translation: Gulf states are preparing for the possibility of direct combat with Iran. Iran's Revolutionary Guard threatened to escalate hostilities, warning it would target oil and gas facilities in Saudi Arabia, the UAE, and Kuwait. Iran's president condemned the strikes on Iranian energy infrastructure, saying they could have uncontrollable consequences, the scope of which could engulf the entire world. That is not an exaggeration. If Trump follows through on his threat and destroys South Pars entirely, he would be obliterating a significant portion of global natural gas supply. The economic shock would be catastrophic. Energy prices would skyrocket. Inflation would surge. Fertilizer production, which depends on natural gas, would collapse. Global food prices would spike. And Iran would have every incentive to close the Strait of Hormuz permanently and attack every energy facility in the Gulf it can reach. Let's talk about what South Pars actually is, and why destroying it would be insane. The field was first discovered in Qatari waters in 1971. Iran discovered the South Pars section in 1990. It has been developed over decades into Iran's primary source of domestic energy supply. The facility includes massive processing plants, pipelines, export terminals, and petrochemical assets. Destroying it would not just hurt Iran, it would remove a critical energy source from global markets at a time when supply is already strangled. The United Nations has already warned that 45 million people are at risk of acute hunger due to rising food prices sparked by the Iran war. Gas prices in the U.S. are up 29% since the war began. The Federal Reserve held interest rates steady on Wednesday, citing elevated economic uncertainty and the unclear impact of the war. The global economy is already reeling, and Trump just threatened to make it exponentially worse by destroying the world's largest gas field. Here is what makes this so dangerous. Trump is not just threatening Iran, he is threatening the entire global energy system. South Pars feeds not just Iranian consumption but also global LNG markets through the shared reservoir with Qatar. If Trump destroys the Iranian side, the shockwaves will destabilize the Qatari side. Qatar is one of the world's largest LNG exporters. Europe depends on Qatari gas. Asia depends on Qatari gas. If that supply is jeopardized, energy prices go higher, economies slow down, political instability spreads, and Trump's justification for all of this is protecting Qatar, a country Israel just dragged into the war by attacking a gas field Qatar shares with Iran. Qatar condemned Israel's attack as a dangerous and irresponsible step that threatens global energy security. Qatar did not ask for this. Qatar did not want to be involved. Israel attacked a shared energy resource, Iran retaliated, and now Trump is threatening to escalate to the point of destroying the field entirely. So where does this go? Trump said Israel will not attack South Pars again. But Israel has a track record of conducting strikes without coordinating with Washington, or at least without Washington admitting coordination. If another strike happens, does Trump follow through on his threat? Does he really destroy the world's largest gas field and trigger a global energy catastrophe? Or does he back down and look weak after issuing an ultimatum? Iran is now attacking energy facilities across the Gulf. Saudi Arabia, the UAE, and Kuwait are all preparing for possible military action. The war is spreading, and Trump just raised the stakes to a level that could collapse the global economy. 2 hours ago, Trump threatened to blow up the world's largest gas field. 2 hours later, oil is at $115 per barrel. Qatar has lost 17% of its LNG capacity for years, and the Gulf states are preparing for war. Trump claims he knew nothing about the Israeli attack that started this escalation. Sources say he did. He says he does not want to destroy South Pars, but he just threatened to do exactly that. He started a war to protect American interests. Now he is threatening an action that would devastate the global economy, spike inflation, and push millions into hunger. Mark this moment. Because this is what happens when threats replace strategy. When escalation replaces diplomacy, when a president boxes himself into a corner with ultimatums he cannot afford to enforce but cannot afford to abandon.